welcome everybody to Turtle Talk on These Changing Times Radio. So I am joined today by Barbara Threecrow and Charles Twodog. Today, we'll probably, this will be a Turtle Talk like all the others. We never plan what we're going to talk about. I like to check in the morning to see what news is going on in the world, and I base my what I'm going to talk about usually on that. And Barb sent me a link today. I think we're going to talk about that a little bit. But I was noticing that the Russian ambassador was shot and killed after he, I guess, went on live TV and kind of threw a fit, about the way that things are being done across the globe, pointing fingers, the U.S. is trying to single out Russia as being the do-all, be-all evil of everything. And I'm not buying it, because I know that we do enough evil. Well, not we, because it isn't my government. I promise you, it's not my government. But this government here is responsible for more evil across the globe than any other. They are liars. They are thieves. They are every bad name that you can call. It can be placed on the government of the United States of America. They are corrupt. And this is where we are today. Our country has been usurped, a silent coup, and people kept sleeping, and they're still sleeping. I want to talk about a little bit today, too, about how we approach each other in these times. One of the greatest things that the thugs, the controllers, have on their side is their ability to break us apart, to put stumbling stones in front of us so that we cannot communicate logically, sincerely, and lovingly with each other. This is purposefully done because there's only one thing that they fear. One thing that the controllers fear. Nothing else. They don't care about your signs. They don't care about your petitions. They don't care about your rioting in the streets. That's secondary to them. It's just the thing that has to happen for them to move their agenda along. There's only one thing only, and that is unity in the people and global unity. That's what this is about. That's what I want to talk about today. All of the name calling, all of the labeling, all of this stuff that is put as a stumbling block, and everybody eats it up. Every single point in history where this control has been implemented and how they've done it. Yet here we are today, the same controllers. If you don't like what your government is doing or what some other government is doing, then you're looking at the same picture. Your government's no different from any other government. It doesn't matter what name they call it, what label they give it, how they go about their suppression, how they go about their way of controlling the people. It's all the same. Nobody's any different. We are just people running around amok. We are in chaos, and we are dealing chaos in our very lives simply because we can't see beyond those labels to bring everybody together, to understand that we've all been manipulated. We're chasing illusions. We're creating illusions. And all the while that we're doing this, the government are going full speed ahead. The controllers are moving full speed ahead. And if you think that there's chaos now, they're just now gearing up. We're just now getting to the nitty-gritty. And if we don't get a handle on this, and if we don't start coming together and getting rid of all the trash that's been piled upon us, then we're in dire straits. And we're not going to see the end of the tunnel. You know, uh, we need to start standing together and forgetting that there are different countries, that there are borders. We need to forget that there are different ways of government. We need to forget all of that. It doesn't make any difference because we don't want that in the first place. We don't want the governments that we're under because we're being put upon. There is tyranny in each and every one of our lives, no matter where you live. So,
hey, Patty and everybody, all you listeners out there. Patty, you've been breaking up a little bit. I just want to let you know. Yeah, I got the gist of what you were saying, and God, there's so much, really. I know that I think that we have to identify, or I guess I think there's a majority of people that can't wrap their mind around that we are dealing with evil, first of all. And, that sounds like a conspiracy theory right there. But I believe that is what we're dealing with, and it has been in place in both sides of our government and throughout the world. This is nothing new. I think just people are just starting to wake up to the chaos. And yes, you're right, the chaos is going to increase. We haven't seen anything yet. And as you know, as I've said, that the fundamentalist religious groups have claimed Trump as their own, saying he's God's chaos candidate. And so, looking at that prophecy, and that he's going to save everyone, he's going to, he's going to destroy Babylon, that this is the Bible speaks of Babylon, and the sins of Babylon, and and they're looking at all that we see happening here in our country as sinful, and I have to agree in a lot of ways on this. We see the rising and the exposure of pedophilia, of prejudices. And I don't think that the prejudice, the big flag there of the prejudice has ever not been. I think it's been very present. I think right now Trump has opened that gateway. He's just opened that curtain. And it's something that I have always felt. I mean, really look at how certain people were affected by a black president. Opposing that because he was black, and they just couldn't get over it. And now we see, that opened that doorway. That's a very dark doorway that I know that this country has been founded on, is slavery, prejudice, genocide, manifest destiny. Just take a look at all those pieces. And I say, our country was never great for a greater majority of people. And, so looking at where we are now, I was listening to this talk show, an interview with an author, a professor who went to the South, went down into the South areas about 4 years ago, actually, to talk to people, Americans, white people who are disenfranchised and angry, and those are probably the ones who voted for Trump, and the Tea Party people. And she was very curious because she comes from, she teaches at Berkeley, and she's in this bubble, and she realized that, and she wanted to get to know the other part of the other people in America and find out, what really is going on here, and what makes them tick, and why they are angry, and why they are doing what they're doing, or supposedly shocking everybody in this country, and so on. It was very interesting, of course, because, we just view other people outside of our own bubble and make judgments against them. And they do the same thing, of course, from their perspective. But one thing she pointed out was how we really need to find a common ground.
Okay, a little bit of personal experience with this Trump election here is that I did meet a individual that was Hindu that was actually talking on the phone in his own language while I was parked, and two Trump supporters pulled up on each side of my car and was actually going to hurt this guy. So I did have to get out of my truck and tell them that, this is fixing to happen. I'm looking right at them. They did not like this man because he was speaking that way. Plus, I have a young Mexican boy that is just now getting over getting a pencil stuck in his eye because he's Mexican, needs to go home, evidently. Most Americans that I'm running into that are Trump supporters is telling me it's time for the white man to rise and get America back white the way it's always been. So it's beginning to be Trump started it, to be honest with you. And now you've got the Electoral College saying that if they go in to have another vote, that if you vote against Trump, you'll just be removed and have somebody that will vote for him anyway. So it's all messed up. And as far as racial,
well,
I'm already seeing it here.
I don't think that's new, really. That's what I said. I think he's just fueled that fire that's been simmering. It's been there. And now, of course, the media is really on it.
All of this is made up. All of this is designed for one reason. We're not pointing fingers at the controllers. We're pointing fingers at each other. We're going after each other. This is what I've been trying to say, is that this is all wrong. It's all wrong. We're approaching this in the wrong manner. We're biting into it. We're buying what they're selling. And we're supposed to be the ones who are telling people about what's going on. And still, here we are jumping on everything that is said in news media, who are playing us like a fine-tuned violin.
Right.
And this is what is wrong. The controllers are the controllers. They will always be who they are. They never change, ever. This is not who we are. This is not what we're all talking about, what we're all looking for. This is the opposite,
I do want to emphasize the fascism, because I think these points are very important, might help people to really see, it's something I think is very important because it is, I feel, something significant, because a lot of what fascism is really points to what you're talking about, what we're talking about. It is a form of political behavior marked by obsessive preoccupation with community decline, with humiliation or victimhood, and by compensatory cults of unity, energy, and purity in which a mass-based party of committed nationalist militants working in uneasy but effective collaboration with traditional elites, abandons democratic liberties and pursues with redemption violence and without ethical or legal restraints goals of internal cleansing and external expansion. So to me, it is an obsessive preoccupation that we've been led to. It is a game they're playing with us, and I think we have to be very alert to that game. They've always been playing us, and now we have to be ever more alert than we've been before, or wake up to this, because we're really heading for trouble here. I mean, we can see even other countries are really worried and really concerned with all these, the pics, for instance, of Trump. And we've always said, I think we predicted that we were heading for a military government. And now look at all the generals that are coming in, that he's putting in position, and people who could care less about the environment, people who, his whole thing, I feel, is going to take down and set us backwards in so many ways. And it's up to us. That's why I said we have to find common ground here together, because it's not just us and them. us and the Tea Party, or us and those that voted for Trump, or whatever. We're all together in this. And we do have to find a common ground, because everybody really has to become alert to all that is going to happen will affect everyone, not just a percentage of the people here in the United States. It's going to affect all of us. And these people are the elite. They are backed by that evil and the fascism, whatever you want to call it. It's disregard, complete disregard for anything that's sacrosanct, anything that's sacred. And that means our children, our grandchildren, the water, the earth, everything. They don't give a crap. It's all about greed. Greed and power and money. That's what this is coming to. So
it's all about their vision for the future and the control of all mankind, of all living things. Like you said, Barb, we have a administration that is built on the back of the military and the corporations. Trump came out with a really good message to galvanize the people, to motivate them, because he said the thing that we've all been saying, and he said them to us, and he said them with purpose, and he said that he was going to drain the swamp. And indeed, if we go back 8 years and we listen to Obama on the campaign trail, he did the exact same thing. He promised that there would be change, that there would be no more corruption, that there would be transparency, that he would give the country back to the people. And look how that worked out. It's because they're not talking to us. They're talking to a motivation, a manipulation. They're talking to a hive. They're talking to a controlled mass. They're putting in the propaganda, and we're biting on it, just like we are now. It doesn't matter who Trump puts in office. It doesn't matter who Hillary put in office. It doesn't matter who Germany puts in office, or Russia, or China, or the Middle East. None of that matters. We keep lopping off little twigs thinking that we're attacking the problem. But what we're doing is attacking each other. We are the little twigs. The problem is at the root. The problem is at the base. And it has nothing to do with who you voted for. And it has nothing to do with what promises they made. It has nothing to do with any of the labels. It has to do with the control. It has to do with the root of the issue, which is the controllers. And that's where we need to attack. That's where we need to focus our energy. That is where we need to come together and stop playing their game, because that's their power. Their power is in getting us to hate each other. Their power is in getting us to fight against each other, thinking all the while that we are doing the right thing. And it's not. It's not. It doesn't matter, Twodog. I know you said he's going to kill us. Anybody is going to kill us. Put a name in there. Hillary, put a name in there. Governor Joe Blow. It doesn't matter. If they're in there for one reason, not for us. They're in there for the controllers.
Let me explain what I say about this. What I'm seeing is, okay, you got your generals coming in. Threecrow is very, very right on that. He didn't drain the swamp. He added to the water, to be honest. Millionaires, billionaires, white supremacists, and generals. Okay, I understand that. But when people come at me, where I live at right now, and say, well, Donald Trump is our savior, he will make America white again, and they're punching at me. Okay, they taking pot shots at me. We didn't kill all of y'all just to have the Mexicans come in and take over, and especially the Muslims. you get to see what he started, because he started this racial bigot campaign anyway.
He did not
Didn't
start
it.
When
he just said he just fueled that fire. It was there all
Yes,
these
he fueled the
years.
fire.
I'm not saying it's not there all these years, okay? I'm not saying that. I'm saying when he started talking in the campaign, he's talking against Mexican people, he's talking against Muslims. He's saying if you're a woman and you disagree with me, you're a pig.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I
I hear what you're saying, Twodog, but really you have to look at, we all have to look at the fact that he started talking about this blatantly, but it was there. It wouldn't have risen if it wasn't there already. You see, this is what
it's
our
already
country.
there.
Yeah. So this is what we now as a people have to deal with it, because so he's basically, opened that doorway, and now everybody has free range to do what they want, but they did anyway. They've been doing it. Now it's just the media is just feeding it more and more and more. And yeah, you've had personal experiences. I understand that. But still, we have to get back to finding a common ground with each other, black, red, yellow, and white. We have to wake up that how they're playing us. The media is involved. We know that, right?
I'm just saying, if you look exactly at what my nation is doing right now, we're bringing people from around the world in to set here. And, we're reaching our hands out in peace. We're bringing all flags up to honor all people. It can work because we're doing it. My nation's doing it right now. I meet with Mexico very soon. The thing about it is, if we can do this and all come together, then I'm thinking we can stop this bigot stuff from happening in the first place if we live here. We're all, people are people around the world. And we don't have to fuel into this, but bring love, honor, respect to other people inside. My nation's doing it now. Ladies?
Well, what we have to do, I think, the one thing that might work for us, we sit here and we talk about the corruption. We talk about the evils that are wrong. And then we listen to sound bites. And we buy everything that they sell. And we're here right now discussing exactly that it is manipulation, that it is all a lie, that the only reason we hate each other is because they told us that we hate each other. People are acting out of fear. People are acting out of misinformation. People are acting out of non-thinking. They're not thinking. We are stopping short of going there because we're still manifesting the disease. We are creating the disease that they have implanted in us. We simply do this by buying into everything they say and pushing it out there and out there and out there and making people hear the words from us even, racism and corruption and da-da-da and da-da-da and da-da-da. And we continue daily putting this stuff out there. We're not doing anything to help ourselves. Not anything to help ourselves. When you look at it logically, what is all this rehashing of racism and hate and bigotry? What is it doing for us? What cure is it creating for us? Seriously.
Well, I don't think it's curing anything. What I do think is that people who are expressing this are getting something, and it's certainly not anything that's healthy. It's just, feeding something that they've been festering with, and now they're expressing this in their frustration, and they've also been told, of course, by many, not just Trump. It's the behavior that we have seen, politically in our government that basically, separates people and disenfranchises people. So these people who are expressing this hatred towards certain others believe and have come to believe, and this is, of course, what our country was founded on, that they are superior than people of color, and all of a sudden, or after all of these years, people of color are taking things from them, that their government has basically, been the ones who have disenfranchised these people, the jobs, the health care, everything. So to me, it's like that.
But again, that's just acting out of ignorance, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
I mean,
so
to
you
say
yeah.
that the one, right? So we're still operating out of ignorance.
That's correct.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
How do
we've
we
got to
solve
find
the
a way
ignorance?
around that.
How do we solve the ignorance of the populations, the majority of the population here, or a greater percentage of the population? There's been one part of the population that's been, and they've just been sitting back. They haven't been really involved. Everything's fine for them. They're not worried, and they don't really, in a way, they are part of the elite. They're living in an illusion. They don't know what's going on with half the population here in the United States. They don't know. They have no clue, the people that are suffering. That's my feeling, That's why I'm saying we have to we have to reach out. We have to step out of the box. Everybody has to step out of the box and look around at the people, at your neighbors. What?
Those people who are not clued in, the ones you were just talking about, how do we clue them in? Do we clue them in racism or bigotry? Do we clue them in hate?
Well, there are people that aren't listening. They listen to certain news. They listen to certain media. They're stuck there, the elite. Then you have the whole push on the fact that any alternative is conspiracy and nutcases, so they don't dare, look into that. So they're getting information by the media that is keeping them stuck in their box. And, I know a family who, in Massachusetts, in a very high-end community. They're appalled at Trump. They don't understand how he got in. They don't understand the people who voted for him. They have no clue about these people who are, speaking out, who are standing up for something that they believe was going to change their lives, something good. Of course, he was saying it. These people, these elite, these wealthy people have no clue. They're living in an illusion, and they are our neighbors, Well, they're not my neighbors because everybody here doesn't have money, but you know what I mean. So how do we, I feel, this is my feeling, because I feel we're doing our best. We're talking about this. Who's listening? I think already the people who are listening to us already have a clue to some degree. The people who are the elite in their box, wealthy people who are good people, but they're just, they aren't stepping out of that box. They don't know what's going on in America, in those troubled places. They don't know. They don't want to go there. Nobody wants to go there. So I feel the only way that those type of people who are wearing blinders, I think the only way that they're really going to wake up and start looking outside their box, and they're just starting to do that because now of Trump getting in, and now they're alarmed at everything he's doing, is that it's going to have to get to a point. This is my feeling. It's going to have to, the scale is going to have to be tipped so seriously, and he's going to lead us places where we're not safe. It's not going to be good. And these people are for, green. They're all green. They're all for, good things and so on and so forth. But they're still in their box. They don't get it. They don't get. Now they're going to get it. And then maybe they'll step out of that box. Maybe they will start really awakening. These people are living in an illusion. They're delusional about this country. So, I mean, I hate to say it, but I feel that, and I've always said this, I don't think we're at that tipping point yet. I think we're headed for the tipping point. I think we're on the verge of it, but we haven't tipped over into the dark yet. And if that's where Trump is going to take us, people will have to step out of their box. They will have to wake up. They will have to reach out to everyone. We'll have to find a common ground, and we'll have to stand together. We'll have to start taking, charge of our own lives. And I don't think we're there yet. I think people are still shocked. I think people better stop being shocked. I think people better stop complaining and whining about this, because that's not going to get us anywhere, or blaming others. Oh, you guys voted for so-and-so, or you're this or that. That's not going to get you anywhere. It's just not. We have to change our ways. And this is important. It's been coming. We've known it's been coming. We've been talking about this on the radio for how many years? We've all known, and we're the conspiracy theorists. We're the odd ones. We're the crazy ones. But now, now here we are. We can say, yep, we told you so. Not that I don't like to say that, but we have told people, get yourself together. Prepare for the worst, because it's coming. And it's not going to be a pretty picture. I'm not a doom and gloomer. I'm just, trying to point out things here that we have known this. People have been talking about this, and then there's the other percentage that has just been in their little bubble, going along, la, la, la. Our government is corrupt. Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. Every president, everyone in that position has not been, on the up and up. There have been lies. There have been all kinds of crap going on. This is what we've been living under. And now here it is, big time, right in our face. We're heading somewhere, and it's not going to be pretty, and people will have to wake up, period. I don't think they're there yet.
I see nothing changing. I see the controllers moving right along, no matter what we say, no matter what we do, because even the people, and I will say this again, and believe me, I have the greatest respect for any and all who in this time that we are living finds the courage to stand up and speak against what is happening. I commend you, and I am honored to share this time with you. But I will say this again. We are not doing anything right now that is going to benefit the people of the world. We are simply continuing the machinations of this control. There has to be a way that those of us who see what is happening to go across the gulf, to break down the wall to truth, and stop repeating over and over and over the ideologies, the dogma, and the rhetoric that we are being fed to each other. As long as we promote their agenda, they win. Their agenda is causing division, and we, even though we don't mean to, every time that we call out another because you're a Trump person, or you're a racist, or you're a Democrat, or you're this, or you're that, whatever we put out there, we are continuing their agenda. It's not that we are doing this of our own accord. We are being fed. And we've got to see that. We have got to be able to clearly look and see that everything that we do, when we report on what they're doing, we're telling people there are racists out there. There are bigots out there. There are all of this chaos out there. Hate the cops. Hate the blacks, hate the whites, hate the reds, hate, 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 hate. That's what we're promoting, you know? This is, even though we don't want to, even though it's the opposite of what we want to do. I'm just saying that we, as the people who are, and we are well aware that we have to bring people together. That's what TCT is all about. And we have some of the most brilliant minds. I don't care what anybody says. We have some of the most brilliant, thoughtful, and solution-based minds that I have found. And they're all part of the TCT family. But there are other places just like us who are doing the same thing. Inadvertently, we are continuing the static. We are continuing the chaos. We need to reach beyond that. We need to find some way that those, even us, in our own circles, can see that we're just feeding the fire that is going to consume us. And we have to find a way around this. And the only way that I see that we can do this is by ignoring the fact that there is racism, ignoring the fact that there is bias, ignoring the fact that we hate this or hate that, and instead boo-hoo that every time we hear it and say that's not real. This is what you've been taught to think. This is what you've been taught to feel. This is how you've been taught to act. This is all a lie. It's all an illusion. And none of this is real, and it doesn't affect a cure for what ails us. Somehow we've got to get there. And I don't know how. I don't have the answers, but I do know that we've got to drop the labels. We've got to drop the innuendos. We've got to drop the bigotry, and we shouldn't even mention the fact that one person is black or white. It has nothing to do with that. We should not mention the fact that there are illegal Mexicans or legal Mexicans. You know, all of that is feeding the fire. All of that, every bit of it. And we just need to put an end to it. If we're truly here to make a change, if we're truly here to make things right in this world, we can't keep playing their game. We can't keep shoveling out their manure to the listeners or to the people that we post to or give the information to. We've got to find another way of stopping that. Stopping it dead in its tracks.
Well, I must say that I like what you're saying, and I must say that thinking about dropping out or detaching from that fire, stepping away from that fire, detaching from the all that they're feeding us, because they, it's the same thing. It's never changed. So all that we're talking about and all that is right in our face now, we think it's new. It's not new. It's been here, and they've been feeding us the same thing for years and years and years, probably centuries actually. And so if we keep going there, and if we keep going, oh my God, look at this, and oh wow, look at that happened. Oh, this. If we keep doing that, we're feeding that fire. We're blowing the air toward that fire, and that's what's happening. So I agree with you there, and we have talked about this, I think, in the past a couple of times. I felt like, I guess a couple of years ago, I felt like I was talking to a brick wall, and it felt like that for a long period of time, because I felt like I'm repeating myself over and over again, not only with what is going on, what is in our face, what the media is feeding us, this nightmare, but also the positives as far as solutions, So, we are part of the problem and part of the solution. So what are we going to choose? Everything that we focus on, as we've often said, we are creating. And it is, I guess you could say, and I heard you say this too, like none of this matters. What does matter? We know we're in trouble. We know the crap that's going on. We know the chaos is rising. We know it all. We've been told this. We've been talking about it. And so, and the more you focus on something, as we've always said, the more you feed it, you create it too. And you remind people of how horrible things are, of how hopeless things may be, or how, out of hand everything has gotten and how scary this is now. Yeah, we're feeding that too. You're absolutely right. I agree. So it's about the power that we have, right?
Yeah, and putting the solutions out there that really mean something. Getting people together is optimum. Getting people to agree in our circles that we need to move past this and start doing something proactive, not reacting, but acting in a positive and forward manner for what we want. We all want peace. We all want the corporations to stop their destruction of the earth. We all want corruption gone. We all want a health system that actually heals. We want freedom to choose what modality of health we want. What we want for abundance, what we want for happiness. I hear people all the time, Barb, say, oh, that's just a pipe dream. Oh, that can't ever happen. Yes, it can. Just because it hasn't does not mean it is not plausible. We sit here and tell each other all the time, anything is possible. So what we've got to do is start putting our energy towards those areas that promote what we want instead of putting our energy to those things that destroy, those things that separate. All of the static that we get from these controllers is useless to us. It has no benefit whatsoever. You can talk until the cows come home about how evil the world is, how the controllers control this, how they're the Zionists, how they're the government, how they're this and that and that and this. You can talk forever. You're not curing anything. What we need to do is come together with real solutions, with real motivation, with courage. And it's going to take a lot of courage for us to put away the manipulation that we're all still under. We have to be able to stand up and say, we know what we want, and this is what we want, and this is how we're going to get it. We're not doing that enough. We're not reaching everybody, even in our own circles. And Barb, as well as I do, Twodog, you guys know that there are solutions, so many solutions, so many that will work for. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter what climate you live in. It does not matter. We have solutions for everything that we want for a future filled with promise and hope for our next generations. We already have it. That knowledge is with us now. We don't have to go looking for it. We just have to have the people willing to come together and get rid of this thing about, well, if you pay me $39.95, I'll sell you this book that'll show you how to do this. That's crap. I'm sorry. If you're out there trying to make money on curing the world, then you're part of the problem that we're fighting, and we need to get rid of that. We need to come together and say, this is what we want, and we're serious about it, and we're real about it, and we're going to do this now. Until we do that, we're just spinning our wheels. We're just playing along with them.
Patty?
Go ahead.
Well, Patty, I can say it. I can say it like this. What I'm doing is not about money, period. Matter of fact, I don't even make no money, period, about this, any of this. But if you think about it, I've already had the Maori from New Zealand here. I've had the Eastern Band here. I've had people from England here. I have people from Mexico that are coming here. I've actually met with Maryland. I'm meeting with, they're even sending me state flags around here. Okay? The thing about it is, we're setting in peace with each other. Even from England, all over the world are coming to my tribal headquarters, and setting with us. That's one of the best starts, is that we can sit down and discuss things with each other and how we help. So I'm trying to do my part, but I'm just saying it's difficult for a warrior like myself to walk away and watch two jump on one. I can't do it, because of some racial.
Well, I don't think anybody's asking you to. I don't think anyone's asking.
The thing about it is, what I'm.
Go ahead.
Well, no. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong about this. What I'm saying is that I'm going to stand up and take care of a brother that's in trouble, or a sister, or a child. That's what I'm about.
But does it matter?
Let that happen.
Will it matter, Twodog? Will it matter, Twodog, which political side they're on? Will it matter what color they are? Will it matter to you that they don't believe as you do? Or will you help anyone? That's what we're going at.
To me, whether you're a Republican, Democrat, whether you're a Christian, traditional, or what other spirituality you walk, doesn't matter. What color you are, we're all the human being here on this planet, on this mother. Anyway, we're all the human being. It doesn't matter. If one falls, put your hand out and pick them up. It don't matter.
So what you're saying is
that don't matter.
What you're saying is labels have no bearing on what you need to do. Titles, hate, racism has no bearings.
Excuse me. I'm sorry for. Well, all this name calling. We've got to stop the name calling. We've got to stop pointing fingers, even at those who may be, angry and lashing out at others. We have to stop pointing fingers at them too. It's like this woman who went to these places where people say, they were very wary of her because they said, well, we're called rednecks, we're called, troublemakers and called names and Nazis, and we're called all these names and so on and so forth. And that hurts, and that doesn't feel good, and those people stood up together and decided to vote in the manner that they did, hoping for some kind of change that they were promised. Well, I kind of feel that we know that there's not going to be any follow-through with that. But getting back to what we can do, I feel we do this. Even those of us here, who, we also step into that little box where we turn around and we point a finger at somebody who's acting out or somebody who's not nice or somebody who's attacking somebody. And we're pointing fingers at their color, at their politics, at their behavior. Is that what you're saying, Patty? I guess, we also have to be very, very careful and alert to the energy around that, how we are affecting that as well. It's the same thing that we know about energy. We know about frequency. We know that what you focus on and what you think has a power. And this is what we've been talking about for years, and on the November, we're putting out a prayer. We're going to have a prayer ceremony, a prayer, peace, joy, sing, song, drum, dance on the 20th, January 20th. That's what we're doing. We're going to get people together of all denominations, welcoming everybody, and we're going to have a sing, a prayer, a party for peace, togetherness, coming together. And, this is what we have to do. We have to start, like you're pulling people together with the flags, with your peace vision. We're all doing that. We're praying constantly. Also, we have to do more, I feel, especially knowing the power of that energy, the power of prayer, the power of common ground, finding common ground, So I guess, that's what I'm saying. We're all the problem, and we're all also the solution.
Well, I think, too, we need to start calling it by its name instead of saying the Republicans, the Democrats, the racists, the Mexicans, the Russians, all of this stuff. We need to call it by its name. There is one name that I think is very apropos, the controllers. They are the problem. It's not you, it's not me, it's not the guy who's under the manipulation. We're all manipulated. I think we've agreed upon that. We need to drop labels whenever you're talking about this person who blinded this other person. They did it because of the controllers. They did it because of the controllers. When we have a government that is rogue, it is rogue because of the controllers, not because of any individual person, not because of any individual bias, not because of any individual reason. They have done it because of the controllers, the ones who control our minds, our actions, and everything. I think that would go a long way if we could get people to stop the label, the title, and call it by its real name. The machine. The machine is responsible. The controllers are the machine. This is, I think, a positive way in order to defeat their attempts to divide us more and more and more and more. They divide us by every aspect of our lives. Every single thing in your life is designed to keep you in your own little bubble, to keep you thinking that somebody else is wrong, that somebody else is doing the wrong thing, that somebody else is calling out the wrong people. All of this, it's all manipulation. We need to stop that. We cannot control what is happening as long as we are the problem. And we are. When we look at this logically and we look at this in truth, when we come together and we provide a venue free of titles and labels, we reach people. They hear what you're saying because they have not put up that wall. They have not put up that, oh, you're talking about my people syndrome. We don't want that. There is no my people. It is our, the whole globe. Every person on this planet is the same. We're no different. We're all under the same control. We don't need to separate each other. We are the ones who have to get it back. We are the ones who have to take the fight to the controllers, not to each other. And I think we're at time for our break. And when we come back, we might pick up here. I'm sure we will have a little bit more to say, but maybe we'll move on to another topic. And I just want to leave people with this. We are responsible for what we create. And if what you are creating has a negative effect, then you're doing it wrong. And I don't mean to call anybody out. I'm just saying, me too included. If what I'm doing is not bringing people together, if what I'm doing is promoting division, then I'm on the wrong side. Maybe that's something that we can each look at before we jump on the manipulation bandwagon. So, but anyway, you're listening to Turtle Talk on These Changing Times Radio, and we will be right back. Okay, and welcome back, everybody, to Turtle Talk on These Changing Times Radio. And we are joined by Barbara Threecrow, Chief Charles Twodog, and Zeitz is on the buttons in the background. And we've been having a discussion today on ways that we can cure what ails us, so to speak. If you're just joining us, anyway, we're discussing the fact that we have been manipulated, all of us, even us, the truthers, who come out and bring all the news to you, let you know what's going on, and it's important. I don't want to boo-hoo that, because those people who are just becoming aware, they do need to know what is going on. But there's a way that we can go about it. There's a way that we can do this better, so that we're not alienating people, so that we're not feeding the separation and the division that we've been manipulated to deliver by the controllers. And the controllers are the ones who put the news out to tell you who to hate, who to love, why to hate them, and to continue the divisions between the people. And the people are the cure to the problem. And as long as we are divided against each other for these illusionary reasons of race and color and political background and da-da-da-da-da-da-da, you go on and on and on. What football team do you cheer for? You know, this is all designed simply to keep us from becoming what we truly want to become, which is free, and live in a world that is devoid of destructive means of controlling population, of controlling resources, of destroying the future for our children. This is the world we live in today. I don't think anyone out there who is listening can say that is not so. We have more than enough proof to prove it. You see it in your headlines every day. But there's something else that they've insinuated into our lives. There's something else that they have taught us to promote. And even though we try very hard not to follow that, every time we report on it, we are putting the thought out there, putting the reason for you to be divided again and again and again and again. And this is what we're talking about today, the fact that we can no longer, in good conscience, if we say that we truly want a better life, we can no longer say that we support the labels, that we support the titles that keep us divided. And that's what we've been talking about today. What keeps us from coming together? You know, I bet you there's very few individual people that you could go to today and say, do you not want peace? And have them say, no, I don't want peace. You know, there's very few people that you could go to today and say, do you want your child to be ill, and her child and her child and her child for the next 7 generations? And that person say, yes, I want that. We can't find anybody that could do that, that would say that. So why are we still promoting that out there? Why are we still bringing to air the reasons that they give us for hating each other? It's not about us. We've fallen into the trap. We keep repeating, regurgitating every evil they put out there. The Black Lives Matter, this matters, that matters, the racism. We've talked about it in the whole first hour, so I don't want to rehash that. But what I am saying is there's a better way. There's a better way that we can go about this. We need to concentrate on the positive and do away with the negative. If it's not going to promote peace, then why give it time? Why give it life? Why put it out there? If it is only going to cause more division, then leave it alone. Put it where it needs to be, in the trash bin of illusion that they have put upon us. It doesn't belong in our world. We have a vision. Each and every individual on this planet wants peace. They want abundance. They want a future that they know that their children will thrive in. If we keep promoting for them their agenda of separation and division, then that is what we promote for the future of our children. Now it's time to switch tactics. Now is time for us to truly come together. We speak the words. We say that we love everyone, that we want everyone inclusive in this new world that we envision. So it's time. Now is the time to change the tact that we are on, to start promoting what we love instead of what we hate. No labels, no titles, simply coming together and fighting the controllers. The controllers are the problem. It's not you. It's not where you live. It's not what flag you fly. It's not who you voted for. It's not any of that. It has nothing to do with that. All of that goes in the trash bin because it's part of the illusion. We don't need it. Take the trash out. Take it out of your lives, and let's start in a constructive manner, in a purposeful manner, to do the things that promote truth and love and unity. That's how we stop the controllers. That's how we make it happen. And the more we talk about how we make it happen, the more people will hear this message. The more people will understand this message. The more people will be willing to promote this message. I'm not saying that it's going to be miraculous and that all of a sudden tomorrow everybody's going to wake up and they're going to see that we've all been manipulated and we've all been under illusion. But if we continue on the positive track, if we continue promoting what does cure what ails us, then we are doing the right thing. We are moving forward. And with that being said, we're going to open up the second hour, and I'm going to ask Barb to take control here. And if you want to add anything more, Barb, to what we've discussed, please feel free to go ahead. And then if you want, we can move on to another topic. So go ahead, Barb.
Well, thank you for handing the baton over to me. I don't know about taking control, but yeah, I think that you hit it right on the mark when you started in this direction. And, you know, I know we've talked about this so many times, but I think we lost sight of it. And it's easy to lose sight of it because we are all subjected to this brainwashing system. The media is addictive, and it rules us. It runs our mind. It takes over our rational mind, our consciousness, and our ability to stay centered, you know, like to make the right choices, and we all go off track and follow their rhetoric. You know, it's pretty easy to do that. And so, yeah, you hit it right on the mark, and I know we've talked about that, and again, we're all subject to it. But we have to be ever more careful now. We've also talked about that. We need to be alert. We really need to get this piece that we have been manipulated, our parents, our grandparents, and so on, And I think, this is not just us here, where we are here in the United States on Turtle Island. It's all over the world. I guess, you might as well say that all the governments, I don't think there's one that has missed out on the corruptions. It just seems the way that it is, because what we talk about here is elitism. We talk about what that government puts people in certain positions, and even though they might have good intentions, there's always someone or some faction hidden behind. We call it our hidden government. And who is that? What is that? And what's behind the hidden government? Because I feel that there's something is. And, so we're sort of living in an illusion. We've been living in an illusion. Some have awakened, some have not, some may not. But for those that are seeking to know the truth, I feel the truth, and this piece is what we've all talked about too, is the truth of the power and the ability that we do have to create, to make a difference. And I talk about that as what we focus on, we create. What we think about is an energy, and we manifest it. How we speak, what we believe in, all of these things are very real, and we're all a part of that. So if we're not aware that we are being manipulated, for instance, by the media, by our politicians, and so on, we're in trouble, because we're going to continue down that pathway of hatred, of separateness, violence, and where are we going to go from there, And yes, we've talked about we have to come together. We have to find common ground. We have to be, come into unity. We do want all the same thing. Yeah, I don't care who you are. If you sat down with all types of people from all walks of life and you said, what is it that you really want? What is it? What are your hopes? What are your dreams? I think we'd pretty much all agree. We all want health. We all want safety. We all want peace. We all want the best for our children and our grandchildren. So when you look at all those pieces, all those hopes and all those dreams, we're all on the same page. So we have to stay on that together, on that same page, and work towards fulfilling those dreams. And the right that we have to peace, to healthy foods, to clean water, to everything that was given to us. We all have that right. It doesn't matter, regardless of your religious background, your heritage. None of that matters. But they have made that matter. They have made that a key piece, right in our face. And it's been happening for centuries, So I feel that, this is the time. Again, prophecy is unfolding. Again, I keep saying that we've got two prophecies, probably more really, but just focusing on this time of enlightenment and transitioning into who we really are, which is luminous sacred beings, all people, all one big family on the Mother Earth. This is our home. We all want the same thing. We are no different there. And the other prophecy is that everything that we have known that was set in place, all systems, our religious system, our political system, our financial system, and the education system has been set up by a dominator patriarchy rule that has no consciousness, no caring for anything that is so significant for our dreams and our visions of what we really truly want. They don't care. So the breakup and shattering of all that has been put in place, this is a prophecy. And we see everything messed up now. You could call it breaking up and shattering. I call it. It's breaking up and it's shattering right underneath our feet. If you thought you had a strong foundation, well, it's getting pretty, broken up now, and people are falling off, and people are getting scared, and people are, just losing it. That's part of another prophecy that says, yep, chaos will be rising. to the degree that we will be stunned about the behaviors and the chaos and so on, and the despair and all that comes with chaos, right? So we are in the midst of an extraordinary time, really. I look at it that way. It is extraordinary because we are part of creation, and we have been given the ability to co-create through what we talk about, what we focus on, and what we believe. This is really the most powerful point in time that we have come to. So if you're not aware that you're being manipulated and brainwashed and that this has been going on, that your parents were, your grandparents, and I have to say, prejudices, we're not born with prejudices. We are just not. We're born as a sacred little being. We don't have prejudice. We don't have hatred. We don't even know what that is. We don't see the different colors of others. We don't identify this way. So, if you put a bunch of little children in a room together, they'll all get along, they'll play, they might argue over a toy, that's pretty typical. But as far as hatred, as far as them identifying a person of color as beneath them, that is learned behavior. We have all learned some type of behavior, every one of us, me too. I identified that. And it's an amazing thing. Talk about what brainwashing does, because brainwashing is an imprint, and you don't know you're brainwashed. But when you are imprinted with a thought process upon or against something, when you see that something, when you see that person, that brainwashing clicks in, and there you are. You have this view of a person from that brainwashing perspective. That's how that works. And of course, it's handed down through generations. It's in your family, perhaps. We all have been subjected to that. So we have to kind of get to know ourselves, I guess, a little more deeply. What is it that pops into your mind, for instance, when you see another person? It doesn't matter. I'm not even going to mention what that other person looks like. I think you get what I'm talking about. It could be a person who is overweight, for instance, or a person who is of another color. But I'm just saying, we've all been subject to this brainwashing, and it's handed down through generations. It's a very deeply imprinted issue. It's not who we really truly are if you go back to yourself as that little child, we've all been trained. So now we have reached this point in time. I always say, when I get down to it, after we talk about all the stuff that's troubling, I always say, wow, think about where we are. Think about the possibilities of what we really want to create. And what we've been under, the rule, the dominator rule, that behind that dominator rule is a manipulator. You could call it the elite, you could call it the cabal, you could call it the Illuminati, but there's something very, very dark, manipulating even those others that we point our finger to. That's another thing. I say, you know what? Those people, in our tradition, the Lakota tradition, we say Mitakuye Yasin, which means we are all related. All of us, all people are all related, but not just people. We are related to the beings, to the four-leggeds, the wingeds, the Mother Earth. We are in relationship. You could say, well, I'm not related to those people. So guess what? We are in relationship because we're all here together. Okay, we cross each other's paths. We drive past each other. Our children go to school we've gone to school with others. We walk out on the Mother Earth. She's a living being. The wingeds, the creatures, the four-leggeds, everything. We are in relation to that. All right? If you have any sensitivity at all. And even if you don't, you are still energetically in relationship, because whatever happens outside your door, whatever happens to your neighbor or someone or people across the world or out there, a forest, animals, whatever, it affects every one of us energetically. You may not know it, but energetically. This is what we are. We are beings of energy. We are not this solid mass. We are, dimensional beings, and we sense things. Energetically, we sense things. We know, we feel, we experience consciously, unconsciously, and so on. So when we say Mitakuye Yasin, we are all related, and you feel that. You can't say and point fingers at others and say, but not them, because I don't like what they're doing, or I disagree with them, or they're awful, or they're bad, okay? Because we could all have gone down that road. We could all have been traveling that road, okay? So I'm not any different than those people. Maybe I've had an opportunity to make different choices, free will. We all were given free will. But when you, as a person, as a human being, become vulnerable to the system that is the manipulator, that is the brainwashing system, that basically overrules our ability to discern and make good or right choices, you are subjected to the behavior that manipulator wants you to become. But who are you really? So when I say, we have to pray for our brothers and our sisters who have been caught with an evil, with a manipulator energy, because that's really how I see it all. I could be one of those people too. Temptation affects everyone. And if you have a weak spot, and the weak spots, come in many different ways, Certainly, your weak spots can start when you're a child, depending on what's going on with you. So if you grow up in an angry household, that's going to maybe make you, in a way, a weak person, where you will be asked or given an opportunity to choose between doing something positive or negative. And if you have a weak spot, you could be very well manipulated, much easier. And when you're constantly inundated with media, daily, you are subjected to, hidden information, subliminal information, suggestive information that is not good, not harmonious, not balanced, not for your well-being. And that's where we are. We're being subjected to, as we've been talking about earlier in the first part of this show, and we all fall into it. Okay, we fall into what the media is telling us to do, pointing out certain people who have done bad things, obvious bad things, or what we may believe are bad things. So we have all been trained to do that, and then we focus on it, we talk about it, we get angry about it, frustrated about it. Sometimes rightfully so, but we are still feeding that energy. So talking about energy and the power that we have, I think, is a very, very essential key piece to where we are today. So we've all been led down, the rabbit hole at various stages. Some are still stuck down there. Some are climbing out. But where do we go from here? Who are we really? What are we as human beings, and what is the mystery, the mystery, the mysterious things, the magical things, I guess I'd say. To me, what that is the power that we were all given. It's that power that we were all born with, the innate wisdom, the fundamental nature that we have, the sensory abilities that we have to discern right from wrong, positives, negatives. And all of these things that we were all given were basically dumbed out of the majority of us. So all of our brothers and sisters whom we could say, well, they're really screwed up and they're messing things up, they also were sacred beings. They all came here. All of us are sacred beings. We were all given the same gifts. And the manipulators, and again, it's that I feel it's really very dark. Some people say it's satanic. Some people say it's antichrist. Whatever, it doesn't matter. There is something at work here. And we have to make the decision that we don't want to play the game anymore. And we have to know that we do have the power to step outside of this, chaos that they're creating. It's obvious, the chaos. If you're stuck with the media, you're having that experience on a daily basis, and you can't really think for yourself. And that's the plan, to get people spinning, to get people to hate, to be separated, and to not care. When you're despairing, you can't move, you're unable to move. You're unable to make right decisions. You can't even get from here to there because you're in such a despairing place. The media, just by listening and being fed what the media is saying, anybody would be despairing. We find ourselves going there. We find ourselves getting, being afraid, fear, despair, and certainly doubt, and raging and hatred and jealousy. All of those are low frequencies, and they keep us in that low energy. How can we turn to anyone else and reach out to them if we are filled with all that the media is feeding us? I think it's pretty impossible. So what I'm saying is we have to step away. We have to take charge of our own life. We have to step away from the brainwashing system. That's number one. We have to get away from that. And some people call it the matrix. That's true. But, we have free will. Inside of us, there's a spirit. There is a light. And that will always remain. But it gets weaker and dim the more we allow ourselves to, be inundated with the system. So we do have power, we do have ability, and I have to say that I know the power that we have to change things. And that is through our heart, through the heart path, through compassion, through love, through opening ourselves, to really seeing each other. We do have the capacity. And when I say this, when I'm putting this out right now, I feel this energy coming back at me like, wow, that's a bunch of hokey crap, Well, I know that remark or that reply does exist. And I want to say, pay attention. Pay attention to what comes into your mind when someone is saying that you have the ability, we have the ability to change things through the frequency, through the energy, through our hearts, through compassion, through love. If you get hit with a negative, pay attention. Where is that negative energy, that thought coming from? Where is that thought, that hateful thought coming when you are hit with that, if you see someone or something or hear about something? Where are the negatives coming from? Where are the hateful mind thoughts coming from? Who is giving that to you? Is that who you really truly are?
And ask yourself also, Barb, at the same time, ask yourself, what benefit are you providing with these thoughts? Are they furthering what you truly want to be, or are they keeping you from advancing toward that?
Yeah, and I think that you have to go back to the question, sit down with a bunch of people and say, what is your dream and what is your vision for yourself and your family? And I feel that everyone would pretty much say the same thing. So, if you sit there in that room and you say that, and then you go outside and you look at other people and you say, yeah, but those people are preventing me from doing this. That's not true. It's yourself. We have to take that responsibility. We have to know what we are creating through our thoughts, through our anger, our energies, our lifestyle, the way we look at people. We are creating our own reality. That is the power that we have. So if you are not happy, if you are dissatisfied, you have to take a look and take responsibility for how you are creating. What are you creating? We have that in our power as co-creators. So yeah, whatever is coming at you, I always say, check it out. Say, is this really my thought? And yeah, Patty, what good is this doing me? For some people who are really feeling left out, who have been hurt, I can kind of understand that, that acting out, that reactive, rage or anger or pointing fingers or, trashing somebody, or road rage, whatever you want to call it, what does that give people? It's a temporary fix, they think. I suppose it's a temporary release, but it doesn't change anything. It does not change anything at all. But you can make a big change with, like we've heard the words, turn the other cheek. Love thy brother or sister as yourself. We can make change. And I guess you have to really start taking responsibility for how you are creating. And if you're in despair, you have to ask, why am I in despair? And, what can I do to uplift myself, to be more responsible for my own health and well-being and my own feelings, my own sense of things? Because that's been taken away from us through the media. People feel helpless because they've been told that they're helpless over and over and over again. People feel they don't have enough because they've been told over and over and over again through the media that you don't have enough. You're not special. You have nothing because you don't have this and you don't have that. And so now we have like people despairing and people finding solutions which are false solutions. We know consumerism is not going to give you happiness. And that blue pill is certainly not going to give you happiness. It's not going to fix things. It's going to cover up things for a while. But then you have a side effect, and there you go down that rabbit hole, I feel very positive about where we are. Like I said, we are not powerless. And it's extraordinary, the abilities and power that we do have to change things. You have to start with yourself, as we say, I'm the only one that can bring happiness into my personal experience here. Nobody can make me happy. There's no one that can make me happy, I have to determine that myself, and it's my attitude. It's my attitude. It's how I view things. It's how I look at my life or look out every day. What do I see? How do I react? What do I choose to focus on? What do I choose to draw into my life? That's my happiness. Again, it's your attitude. If you think you've been, dished out a bunch of crap, it's in your hands to change it. You could look through the pile of crap and you might find some special little sacred, powerful, amazing thing. I know people that have done that. People who have had things in their life that you would not be able to handle, that I wouldn't wish on anybody. But then you see that person choosing, to take something that is so awful, so difficult, so challenging, so terrible, and change their whole life because that happened to them, for the good, for the better. That's in our hands. We all have that ability. We all have that power. And that's what gives me hope. That's what gives me joy, because I know that that is very real. It's what we choose, and we all have that capacity. You could be lying flat out on your back, because of an accident, not able to move any part of your body, and you could be filled with joy. That's your choice. That's what you draw to you. And I know there have been people like that. So I feel very positive here about this time. We are going to have a challenge. We are in a challenge. It's because it is time to wake up. We have been sleeping. And we've seen signs. We have little signs that have been popping up, and complacency and apathy, are at work. The media is very well at work. Those that are the controllers have been at work for a long time, and they know how to use energy. They know how to use suggestions. They know how to manipulate people. They know where we're hurting, so they know how to work around that. This is what we have to come to realize. It's not hopeless. It isn't. I really feel that. And I do know we're in challenging times. I'm not foolish. I'm not stupid. But I still have that hope. I feel this extraordinary energy of hope. I know this is a good thing. You may say this is a terrible thing, but it's not. This is giving us a possibility for whatever we choose. That's where we are right now. All kinds of possibilities are at our fingertips. It's what we choose to align ourselves with and what we're going to go forward with. That's why I have hope, you know. So that's about all I want to say. You know, I think I've wrung myself out to everything. I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Well,
I hope I've helped in some way. Yeah.
Yes, it's really good to hear your words, and you are right, Barb. We live in a world today where nothing that you see or hear is real. You've been programmed. I've been programmed. We've all been programmed. There's nothing that we can look back through in our knowable history that we can say is real. We're dealing with the illusion, and we have to keep that at the forefront of our thoughts. When we propose to step up and to take the reins of our own lives, we must be realistic in that view. When you're sitting in your living room and you look around your living room at the things that you have, maybe your big screen TV, maybe all of these things that make your life comfortable. There's a reason for that. They didn't create that for you to be warm and comfy. They created that for you to be dependent. And that's what you are. You are dependent on this whole structure of control within the world. And it controls everything about you. We must be truthful about this. The things you think, they were pre-programmed. The things you do, they were pre-programmed. The things you think you want are pre-programmed. We have to check ourselves. We have to stand in front of the mirror and place our goals and what we want for the future alongside of the list of things that we believe we need in this life, the things that we have in our life at this time, and look at them and say, which list gets us closer to the goal that we want for a sustainable future filled with abundance and health for future generations. Which one is going to get us there? And the list that you can pick out that is the positive one, that's the one you keep. The one that does not get you any further but keeps you in the same place or down an even more slippery slope, that's the one you discard. And it takes a lot of courage of self-courage, something that we've lost a long, long time ago when we gave our minds over to this manipulation, when our ancestors gave our minds over. You know, we fill our days with words like suffering, war, corruption, hate. All of these different words are in our lives on a daily basis. We speak them. Fear, chaos, apathy, worry. All of these words continuously, all day long, we hear them, we see them, we feel them, we touch them. And they are what is eating away at the core of what we truly are. They're putting a wall between us and our ability to form our own reality. We've got to come to grips with this, and we've got to see it for what it is. We can no longer exist within this false reality thinking that it will take us where we want to go. This false reality has no bearing on our future. We've got to stop now and make a decision that we're going to change. We're going to change the way we're going to be conscious of the words we use, of the things we speak, how we feel toward each other, and really, with a conviction, step forward in that manner to change those things, to not be afraid. Like Barb said, this is the most wondrous time that any of us could ever be. This time, right now, because in this time, and this time alone, we have the ability to change the whole picture. We have the ability to create a whole new future. We, only us, total, together. That's where we need to go. That's what we need to concentrate on. That's where we need to put our faith in ourselves, in the ability that we have to get there, because we're the only ones. And before we go off, I know we've got a few more minutes, but I want to hear Twodog, who's been sitting back there being very, very quiet for quite a while. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying it's an easy road. It's harder than anything that you've ever done before, because manipulation's always been the way that you've been spurred and motivated to do anything. Manipulation has always been the reason why you're doing what you're doing. Now we've got to start destroying the manipulation, destroying the ability of the manipulation to manipulate us. And that's a scary prospect. We have to start being self-responsible for what we say, what we do, and how we act. That is a scary prospect in a world that demands that you go along with the program. But we can do this. We can do this. We're the only ones who can. And I'm going to turn it over now to Twodog. And thank you, Barb, for what you did have to say. I do agree 100%. Go ahead, Twodog.
Well, to be honest, what Barb is talking about, part of that is me. To be honest, from my childhood up, it's been nothing but a problem, but I have made it into a man of peace. That's what I want. I want the world that way. Every equal reaction, if you give good reaction, you get equal good reaction back. Not all the time, but you do most of the time. The system of the focus is broken in a lot of people's minds. As far as the way this has gone, when you're a child, you don't see another child of color. You don't even think of color. You see another baby just to play with. As far as the racism is taught through generations. That's how this is going. The thing is, we have to make this change for whatever religion, whatever spirituality, whatever color. If a person is down, reach your hand out and pick your brother up. There's no time for angry. Unity is the main thing. Unity, love, honor, and respect of all people. Because we're brothers and sisters made by the same creator, just may be called different names, but it's the same creator. The thing about it is we have gotten to the point that this fear factor just throws at us 100% of the time. No one is really different here. They love their children and play with them just as I do. They love their husbands and wives when they come home just as I do. We all eat together just as we do. We all pray together. So what's the difference in people? Nothing. What happens with this trade with each other and then take? You don't take, you You work with each other. The malfunction is we hear constantly these war dogs, these elected officials. It gets thrown at you constantly. There's no difference between this, none of us. I don't care what nation you come from. I have had the vision of the peacemaker, is what I have been told. And I believe this. And I am reaching my hand out to the world. And many parts of the world has already come here. And we have sat with the English before, and we found out that they're just about the same as we are, same thing. Nothing different. Just different people. But we understand each other, that we are no different in actuality. Now, let me say it like this. We are in a time when spirits get eaten, and we do have to protect our spirit. But if we are constantly on this, he said, she said, this ain't right, that ain't right, we're eating our spirit ourselves in many ways. Can you not think of helping each other through this world? And start looking at each other in a peaceful way. Use your heart. Use your chante. Put your hands out and say no more. It's time for us to be idle no more on all of this malfunction and start putting the positive to it. And that is, if someone is down, pick them up. Help them in any way you can. What's wrong with that? When someone hollers they love war, that's them. That ain't me. I don't want it. I've been through it. I've had a war in my country ever since I was born. But those things have changed. My time has changed. My life has changed. If it can happen to me, the way Barb was talking about, I'm one of the ones that Barb it can happen to anyone. We have to stop this malfunction of he's different, she's different, don't do this, don't do that. No one's a judge. No one should judge the other. Time, it's our children's future that we are fighting for, that we are standing for. What do you want for your children? The same that I want for mine, to have a better life than I had. It's time to let this go. Stand with each other around the world and pray for each other, because this is the hardest time we're going through, but it's the greatest time because we're here to do it. Malfunctions happen. It happens. Life is hard, but it's good to live it. We live on, take care of this mother. We take care of water is life. Many with Joni. We need to stop this and help each other, and that's the only thing I can say, Patty. We'll go for there.
And you're exactly right, Twodog. We have to forget that there is division, that there is a reason that we've been given to judge each other, to look at each other through jaded glasses, and to imprint upon our children that there are differences. And Barb was right. We are not born. You know, I've heard people say It's just human nature. You know, we don't know what human nature is. We are under the nature of control. When you have two children and you put them in a room together and they get along and play and laugh, it has nothing to do with color. So, no, it's not human nature. When you put people together in a coffee shop who simply are from different political backgrounds, but sit down because they're best friends and they enjoy coffee and they talk about life, that's not that is the true human nature of who we are. We develop these biases. We create them by puppeting what the manipulator sends out, what the controllers send out. It has no bearing on the true nature of who we truly are. When we look at the basis of where we come from, there's no separation there. We all come from the same creation, the same point in time, the same every living thing on this planet. There's only one creator. So we all came from that creation. And we're here dividing each other up because of a physical existence that they have used to manipulate us into believing that it makes us totally different. But let me ask you this. In all the time that you have been alive, in all the time that you have existed in this reality that we are in right now, what is it that has taught you that hate is a positive, that hate can somehow create peace, that hate can somehow change the way we feel about each other? Answer me that. And if you cannot come up with an answer, then do away with it. Do away with it. Get rid of it. It is of no use to you. It is of no use to me. That is the truth of who we are. The ability to see through. We have that ability. We have to start utilizing it now and paying attention to it. When you mouth these, when you repeat what the media has told you, that this is this person's fault or this group's fault, and you look at that, are you buying into that? Are you truly buying into that? Are you saying that it must be that person who developed this bias on his own? Or can you see it for what it is, the manipulation of the media and the controllers to make us think this? We got to start using our own cognitive abilities. And we got to start doing it now. There is a way out. We have the ability. We're right there at the doorway. All we have to do is reach together and turn that knob and open that door. And we can do this. It's not beyond us. We can do anything. Look at what we've done under manipulation. If we were of our own mind, we would not be facing the destruction of all life right now. If we would have been under our own motivations, then we would have the Eden that we envision for our children. It would be here. The only way we're going to get it is when we come together. That's the only way it happens. And
I want to say one more thing. What comes to my mind is if you're God-fearing people, which I'm just going to use that term, anything that is hateful, negative, harmful, all those things that people spew out about each other, and that has nothing to do with Creator God. It is nothing. It goes against what the Bible says. If you're a Bible person, if you're Christian person, if you're a God-fearing person, if you recognize that there is a great spirit, anything that comes into your mind that is harmful, negative, hateful, vile, even despairing, that is not God. That is not great spirit. That is something very dark. It is owning you, trying to own you. It is trying and attempting to manipulate you, to take you away from your true nature, your spirit, and the goodness that is really in your heart, who you really are. So you have to pay attention to that. What comes into your mind, if it's hurtful, hateful, harmful, it is not the light. It is not anything sacred. That's it, period. So pay attention to that. I just wanted to add that, because I know there's a lot of people out there who are God-fearing people, who are Christians, who are, caring people, really. So I just wanted to say pay attention. That's all. Thank you, Pilamaya. Doksha.
Thank you, Barb. And we're just about out of time, guys. I hope you have enjoyed the show today. And please, if anything we said resonated with you, then let's make a concerted effort to promote what is good and what is right, and to let fall back into the mire, the muck that they rake up for us to put upon each other. This is the way we get through this. I really do believe there is a way out together, in unity, without labels, without titles. Call the spade for what it is. It is control. That is what we are dealing with. And thank you for listening. You've been listening to Turtle Talk and on These Changing Times Radio with Barbara Threecrow, Chief Charles Twodog, and myself, Walkiturtle. And we'll see you next week, same time, same place. Thank you, Zeets, for pushing the buttons. Good night, everybody.
Good night.